Well, first, pre-Meshuggah question.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave you your first drum kit? Do you still recall?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was actually my parents gave it to me. I was one of those kids that just I would beat on everything, like and anything. When I was like 3-4 years old, I would hide in a closet and just beat on these old cans and stuff with my hands.
Yeah.
And later on, I used to like I moved on to cookie jars, and I would place like I would sit on my mom's piano stool and I would place like chairs in front of me, and I'd put different size and different sounding cookie jars and stuff in front of me, and I would hit those with like twigs, and like play along as much as I understood to like Elvis songs and ABBA tracks and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it started, and the first kit I got, I think I was probably 7 or 8 years old. I got it from my parents. Kind of a jazz setup, like a small kit, a Premier. A Premier, I know it was a silver sparkle kit with just like 2 toms and a bass drum and a hi-hat and a snare drum. So that was the first kit.
Well, did he try to move you when you were sitting on the piano chair towards the piano, or?
Yeah, my mom tried, man. She did, but I never really, I wasn't into it. Unfortunately, I wish I was. Not today. I wish that I had like learned the piano better, but.
Why?
Well, I just, whatever different like aspects you could, like, whatever interests you have like musically toward different kinds of music, etc. I just think it's a good idea to be as broad as possible, and that would translate into different instruments too, I think. So I kind of feel that sometimes, that I wish I had learned more piano, and my dad's a guitar player, so I wish I'd learned that, but I never did that either. I just wanted to beat the drums, that's kind of the only thing that ever really intrigued me,
Yeah, but I think now you can play a little bit of guitar, I guess, or?
No, not really.
Not really? No, not really?
I can't play any guitar. No.
Could be that maybe, well, you're touring and playing with guitar players or something. Maybe you said, well, show me some chords, or...
Yeah, either that or I'm just really lazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's probably the latter, unfortunately.
Well, 7 years you got your first drum kit. Can you name a few drum players that really influenced you, or was it for you just your own playing?
Yeah, no, early on, I mean, maybe not the first years when I had my kit. I think probably more towards when I was like 10, 11, 12, I listened to a lot of like Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath, and so those drummers like Nick McBrain, Bill Ward, and Phil Rudd of AC/DC. Those drummers, like the heavy rock drummers, were the ones that I listened to initially, and also mostly Ian Mosley from Marillion, and Neil Peart from Rush was always a big influence on me as a kid, definitely. And Neil Peart, for example, Rush was a band that I started listening to probably at the age of like 10, 11 or something. But that was a band that stayed with me for a long time, and I listened to a lot of Rush up until my like early 20s or something like that. So that's one of the main influences for me as an adolescent growing up. He was a major influence, no doubt.
And how did you listen to the songs then? Technically, or the feeling of the drumming, or what did you?
I wasn't one of those. I didn't really sit down and play along to a lot of Rush.
No?
Only a few tracks. For me, it was more about the whole music, not only the drumming itself. Even though the drumming kind of took that band, like, kind of set them aside from a lot of other bands because it was more intriguing in a drumming sense too. But
why? What way?
Just because it was more drumming,
okay.
and a lot of fills and a lot of like a different way of playing drums than a lot of the other bands that I've heard previously, where the drumming. With Rush, the drumming was such an integral part, and the extent of the drumming and the fills and everything was such an integral part of the music, but done in a very musical way, and that really intrigued me. But I really listened to the tracks, and I was more of someone who would sing along to Rush tracks rather than play along to the drum tracks of Rush. So that might be a bit different, I guess.